Eiffel Tower listeners, this week we're leaving the studio and heading to Montmartre to meet the guys behind Lost in Frenchlation, and that's a group putting English subtitles on French films in Paris cinemas. We're going to meet at Les Deux Moulins Café, which you might recognize as the place where Amelie works in that quirky French film called Amelie. And obviously we're going to be talking about movies, the 5 best ones set in Paris. So I'll be talking to Manon, who likes the smell of warm baguette from the bakery down her street and also being alone in a cinema, and Matt, who likes finding hidden courtyards inside Paris and mixing all his food together on the plate to taste all the flavors at once. As for me, I'm your host Oliver, and I like figuring out France with new guests every week. Enjoy the show.
Eiffel Tower with Oliver G.
Here I am with Manon and Matt from Lost in Frenchlation, and we are at the Amelie Cafe. Although that's not really its name. What is it called?
It's called Les Deux Moulins.
And Les Deux Moulins, and for anyone who doesn't know anything about cinema, French cinema, what is this place famous for? Someone tell me.
Manon, over to you.
It's where Amélie, le fabuleux destin d'Amélie Poulain.
That has got the word. It's such a long name.
That's a French name.
Yeah.
The English name, I think, is Amélie from Montmartre.
Is that? I thought it was just Amelie.
Or maybe Amélie.
But in any case, this is her.
This is her cafe, so this is where most of the film is set.
And you live around here, right?
Yeah.
So you could probably tell me all the secrets about this cafe.
I don't come here so often. It's more like a tourist cafe.
A tourist trap. But look, you can see just inside. There's a big picture of Amelie in the window.
We have come here once before. I tried to take my friends here once before, and then we looked at the prices and what was actually on offer, and we decided that we're not going to come here. But that shouldn't be a disadvertisement to this place. It's on a beautiful street.
But then when I messaged you guys, you wanted to record it here because...
Well, it has a lot of significance for cinema, and it's quite close to where we do our screenings as well, Cinema Studio 28.
So we'll talk about those screenings in a second, but first, this show, as anyone who's listened to it before knows, it's all about figuring out France. And a big part of French culture is French movies and cinema. So I'm here with these guys today who are going to reveal to me what they think are the top 5 movies set in Paris. Am I right? That's what you've got?
Yeah.
Okay. So first let's talk a little bit about Lost in Frenchlation. Who hasn't done the plug for the longest? Who's it fresh for?
Probably me. I haven't been to Paris for a while.
That sounds like an Australian accent, Matt.
It is an Australian accent.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sydney.
Okay, cool. Perth.
Where are you from? Perth. So, we're almost like, if I was in Paris, we would be 6 hours away across
like
Europe.
Greece or something.
Yeah.
Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our accents are quite similar, whereas you would have a much...
Those at home might think we're even from the same city, but
exactly.
But tell me, sorry to interrupt, tell me about Lost in Frenchlation.
The very start of Lost in Frenchlation. Me and Manon, we were living in Paris, and basically this awesome movie came out called Mummy. It's a French-Canadian film. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
From Xavier Dolan.
I haven't seen it because it was in French and I didn't understand it.
Exactly, me too.
You know that feeling?
Me too, yeah. Which leads perfectly into Lost in Frenchlation. But the thing was, we looked all over Paris because everyone was talking about this movie. You had posters all over the city. When we went to see another movie, the people from Mummy were just walking out of the cinema and they all looked like they just had the most amazing experience. And we were like, right, well, we're going to see that movie.
That feeling of wanting something you couldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. So we looked everywhere, and there wasn't a single cinema in the whole of Paris that was showing Mummy, but we all, with English subtitles, sorry. And then we realized not only that, but there wasn't a single cinema in the whole of Paris showing any French film with English subtitles. And we thought, right, that's interesting. Let's start to think about that because, I know a lot of English speakers in Paris, and I know that I know a very small portion of the total amount of English speakers in the whole of Paris. So we started looking through statistics about tourists, about expats, and we figured out that there's actually a huge international community in Paris. If you're just looking at Australians, New Zealanders, Americans, and Canadians, and that's only expats. It might only just be expats, or maybe expats and tourists. Actually, probably including tourists. Actually, definitely includes tourists. Right, that would be 3 million people in Paris every year that can't go to see a French movie in a Parisian cinema with English subtitles, even if they wanted to. So when we started, we didn't know whether the demand actually existed, but we thought, look, we know what a special part of French culture.
I have to interrupt you while we order some drinks.
Yeah, not a problem. Manon?
Moi, je veux bien le cocktail au concombre.
Ok.
Et moi, je prends deux pintes, une pinte blonde.
Ok. Oui, une pinte blonde aussi. Ok. Ah ouais, mais en fait, je prends une pinte de lager. Ouais.
Super. Ah oui, je vais prendre une Aperol Spritz.
Alors
si
c'est
vous
pas
avez
un apérol spritz, c'est un apérol mais pas spritz. Il n'y a pas de Campari, c'est un
Ok,
c'est spritz. C'est
oui.
bon quand même?
Oui, c'est bon.
Super, merci.
Merci.
I just noticed when you were ordering, Matt, that you said en fait, which was your favorite French word in a recent episode.
It is actually my kind of favorite French thing to say because, you know, when you're really hanging out with French people, you'll be surprised how much they're dropping on fêtes.
It means nothing. Quand même. The way they just say quand même.
See, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking this guy's just like done another one. Yeah, they don't mean anything, but they're a nice way to kind of communicate because suddenly people
Hang on,
think...
we've gone way off topic, Matt. We've got to get back to the films.
Oh, the film.
That was my fault again. So you found that. So in summary, you found a big group of people that wanted to watch the movies, or you figured they did, and then you started to make these.
Yeah,
films.
we just figured like if we want to watch the movies, maybe other people want to as well, and there's a big enough market out there to try our hand. And that's what Lost in Frenchlation does now. We screen French films with English subtitles. We try and screen the best French films of the time. We're only doing contemporary French films, what's out in the cinema right now, or what's recently been in the cinema. And not only that, but being an ex-expat of Paris myself, I know that it can be difficult to meet people or to feel kind of like you're welcome in somewhere.
So we try and meet up as well.
Yeah, so we do a lot of meet-up as well. And it's just somewhere where the international community can come and feel part of a very welcoming environment and catch a bit of French culture.
Okay, Manon, do we agree with everything that Matt has said here?
Yes.
He's on point?
Yes.
Okay, great. So a lot of people listening to this radio show probably are also in that group that you guys just mentioned. So how's the best way they can find you? Facebook?
Yeah.
What is that? Lost in Frenchlation on Facebook. Go and give them a like. While you're at it, give my page a like, the Eiffel Tower. But what you all came here today really was to hear the best films set in Paris. So Manon, I gotta ask you to give me, and I want you to convince me, something to watch tonight when I get home. You're laughing, but I know you've scripted a list, so it's okay. But give me number 1 of 5 of films that are set in Paris, and tell me why it's so good. And don't tell me that Amelie is on this list.
No, it's not.
Why not?
Because it's too cliche.
It's almost as cliche as sitting on the terrace of the Amelie cafe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we're doing, why the cars are so loud.
But you know what? Amelie, in and of itself, is a great film,
Yeah.
and this is a very nice cafe.
It's a beautiful film in Montmartre, which is actually where we are.
Yeah.
So Manon, over to you. Number 1.
The first one of my list is Chacun cherche son chat. The English title is When the Cat's Away, and it's directed by Cédric Clapiche, which is my favorite director. So it's
Confession, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet, so you really, this is it, convince me.
That's
It's
why we're
like-
making this list.
It's like a portrait gallery of Parisians. It's like each single character in the movie could be someone you could come across in the street. So there's no real story or scenario. Actually, it was supposed to be a short movie at the beginning. It's the story of this girl who lost her cat in the neighborhood of Bastille.
Okay.
But it's kind of just a pretext to create human contact and encounters in the neighborhood of Bastille.
And do you get to see a lot of the Bastille neighborhood in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
Are you a fan of Bastille?
Yeah,
Which
I
is
like
hang on, that's down
Rue
in like
de
the-
la Roquette. Do you know this street?
I'm going to do a pub crawl there one day. A sensible drinking
really
Great
cool.
area for
Yeah.
a pub crawl.
Yeah. And Cédric Clapiche, so he's my favorite
The director, yeah.
of all time. He made the movie called Paris, which is also a really good film. It's like a choral film with many characters who are like secretly related to each other, but you find this out throughout the film. He also made Un air de famille, which is a really good comedy. He made Le Péril Jeune, which is like a cult movie. It's a really, really important symbol for the generation just before me. So people who were young, like in the 90s. And he made the trilogy L'Auberge Espagnole, the movie which talks about Erasmus exchange, Les Poupées Russes, and Casse-tête chinois.
She's not reading here. These are just films that she's saying off the top of her head. It's very impressive. If you want a film fan, this is your woman, Manon. So that's number one, or was that just the... Or was that...
That's number one. Chacun cherche son chat.
I don't even know if you'd finished your explanation yet. Were you still
finished,
going? Or?
No,
Well, I realised I always
say
realise we got a list to get through, and then I worry that we'll run out of time.
no.
And people will want that fifth one.
Yeah, of course.
But should we push on to two before we...
Yeah, I'm happy to get into two.
Okay.
So number two is Mezrin, or as it's correctly pronounced, I think Merin. Is that correct, Manon?
Okay, the French pronunciation guide.
Mérine.
Mérine, but there is an S in there.
There is an S in there.
But
And
he explains in the film that you shouldn't pronounce the S, like the metro station called Miroménil. Don't know if you know it, on line 13.
Yeah.
He says in the film, no one says Miromesnil, so you shouldn't say Metzrin.
Pronunciation guide. And anyone with expert ears out there will hear that I ordered un pinte de blonde instead of une, but I corrected myself, so it's okay.
I don't think that I corrected myself when I was talking. My French is probably slightly worse than yours, if not much worse.
I just do the accent. I just try to do the accent and people think I speak better than I do.
Okay,
Sorry, go on,
so Merin, is that something that you've seen? Have you seen it?
I've seen the trailer for it. That doesn't count for anything.
So, relating it back to our Australian backgrounds, have you seen Chopper?
I have seen Chopper.
So anyone out there who hasn't seen Chopper, it's kind of the French equivalent. So Chopper is this very infamous Australian gangster.
Yep.
And Merin is...
Mark Chopper Reed.
Mark Chopper Reed,
Yeah.
exactly.
Not set in Paris though. You don't have to watch that.
Yeah. So this guy is Jacques Merin, and he's just this notorious gangster, very famous for murdering people, bank robberies, kidnapping.
In Paris?
In Paris, but not only in Paris, in all parts of the world. So the film is actually split into two. You've got Killer Instinct, which is the first part where he kind of gets into crime, and that starts in Paris, but he gets so deep into crime that actually people want to kill him. So he leaves, he goes to Canada and the US, where he gets into all this kind of trouble. And then in the second part, he returns back to France. And his kind of troubles continue until he's famously murdered by the
Spoiler alert.
police. Well, it's actually the first scene you see in the movie.
Right, okay. But anyone that knows the story of this guy would know that he got shot by the police anyway.
Yeah, so at the time you would have seen it all over the front pages. He was like, you know, the kind of gangster where he's such a bad person, but he becomes notorious within society. So everyone knew him, and the film opens with him being murdered, and the film is just his journey. And it's so interesting, and it's Vincent Cassel who plays Merin. And you know, women love Vincent Cassel, and maybe I love Vincent Cassel a little bit as well. It's such a good actor.
Like James Bond, all the girls want him and all the men want to be him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So
me
that's
included.
That's number two on the list. I'll definitely check it out.
Not bad. Okay, let's talk a bit about Paris movies. Do you guys ever see people filming movies around here?
Yeah, we actually ran across a shooting a month ago.
Yeah, not long ago.
And what do you guys do? I imagine you get pretty excited.
Yeah, we took a photo.
Yeah.
We stopped for a moment, but we didn't see anyone famous, and it was a bit strange. We just saw a massive green screen in the middle of Paris between two buildings, and we just thought, you could actually just do that green screen anywhere. Why are you doing it
Are you
here?
sure they weren't doing like maintenance or something?
No, they had all the cameras, and the guy was dropping a hat.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll see that coming out in the movie soon.
You know who else has been in Paris recently filming?
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Giving a cruise down the Seine a whole new meaning, right? No, that's
I was more excited when Scarlett Johansson was serving popcorn or
popcorn in the Marais. Yeah, but she lives here, right? I think she lives here.
I think so.
Scarlett
I think
Johansson?
she has a place at least.
Scarlett, if you are listening to the Eiffel Tower, which it could be happening.
I mean, it's most likely.
It's most likely. Come on the show. We'd love to have you. We'll even do it in your popcorn store. I don't know where the popcorn store is, but we'll put a link into the episode under this. Let's talk a little bit more about Amelie, though. You know why? Because we're here, right? It works. Do you guys think it provides an accurate representation of Paris and Montmartre, or has it gone and been all a bit too silly with the skimming stones that no one really does at the Canal Saint-Martin?
I think if you're looking for a representation of Montmartre, it provides a starting point. It's a kind of, fantastical movie? Is that what you guys say in French?
It's kind of unrealistic, especially because the color in the film is so special. It's
like
kind
an
of
Instagram
yellowish.
filter,
Yeah. So it's a little bit unreal, but I like it. I like the representation of Montmartre it gives.
You know what I noticed about the cafe is that they don't have cigarettes behind the counter anymore. Because I watched the film fairly recently, and they don't. I mean, you can't buy cigarettes like that in cafes, or
No, I think you can.
You still can.
You can, yeah. Yeah, there's still cafes in the neighborhood, like down there, where you can get cigarettes.
Yeah. You're just pointing down the hill towards the city, towards the.
But here, yeah, they've done renovation work after the film, so it kind of changed a little bit. But it still has the charm and atmosphere of the movie.
But I mean, like, Amelie is, you know, it's kind of like a poetic movie, and I think that if you're looking for somewhere in Paris which kind of encapsulate that, Montmartre's probably going to be the closest you're going to get. And we're on the street where, you know, she's walking down and she's guiding the blind guy and just describing
this
to
street?
him. This is this street, yeah.
So this street is called, what's it called? Rue Lepic?
Rue Lepic.
I always think it's like Rue Epic, the epic street. But what does it mean, Le Pic? Does it mean something?
Le Pic? I think it's... In French, it kind of means the top of a mountain, and
like
because
Peak,
Montmartre is a hill, I'm not sure, but I probably think that's what it means.
So now that I'm looking up and down the street, it kind of looks more familiar when she's going past the butcher and saying this is the price of that, and this is. No, yeah, okay. Well, there's a little fact for you guys. That could be a secret. In fact, would that be one of your secrets of Paris? That this is. No, obviously not. Well,
I wouldn't put it on the list.
No.
But if we were just discussing it casually, it's something I'm happy to share.
Cool. All right. Well, on that subject of list, let's get to number 3. What are we talking for number 3?
Okay, number 3.
Movies set in Paris, according to Lost in Frenchlation. Manon.
Number 3 is Ciao Pantin.
Ciao Pantin.
So apparently it was a saying in the 80s which meant "Hey buddy."
Pantin meant buddy.
Ciao Pantin was like, yeah,
The
hey
Pantin
buddy.
is in like the neighborhood in Paris.
I don't know if it's
No?
linked.
Okay.
I asked my dad earlier today if he used to say Ciao Pantin to his friends. He said no, but apparently it was famous in the 80s.
But do you think if I walked down the street and said to someone Ciao Pantin, how would
No,
they react?
no, it's completely
I might try
outdated.
it just to see. I'll say it to the waiter when he comes back. Okay, but tell me what about the film is so good?
So the movie is quite dark, but I think it's a good representation of the violence in France in the 80s. There was a lot of poverty, unemployment. But it's not just about that. I think the main subject of the film is the wonderful friendship story. And Coluche. So I don't know if you heard about Coluche.
No.
He's this comedian, humorist.
Yeah.
But in this film, he really proved to everyone he was just not only funny, but he could also be really, really good in a social drama. And he actually won the César Award for this film, which is the equivalent of the Oscar. And just a great...
France.
In France, yeah, equivalent to the Oscar in France. And it's directed by Claude Berry, which is a really famous French director. He made Ensemble c'est tout with Audrey Tautou, the actress of Amelie. And he also made Jean de Florette and Manon des Sauces. And this is actually where my name comes from this movie.
Oh wow. Does anyone like Manon? Sounds a bit like Minon to me.
Yeah.
Hang on, here comes the waiter. Watch this.
When I
Ciao Pantin. Merci. Nope, that didn't work at all. Okay, so that was Ciao Pantin. And was that actually made in the 80s or was it...
Yeah, it was made in, I think, 1983.
Right. Okay. And now we've got some lovely drinks and olives put right in front. How long did that take? What was it, 15 minutes? Is that good for Paris?
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Okay, we've been talking for a while. We need to get on with it. We're up to number 3. Can we get on to 4?
Okay, yeah, 4. Okay, so 4 is...
You got 2 minutes to convince me for 4.
Right. Police.
Police.
So police, if you're gonna search this at home, is spelled P-O-L-I-S-S-E, which is not how you spell police in French. And
that would
that's
be without the
because,
SE at the end, wouldn't it?
well, I think it would be with C-E at the end.
Oh god, I was thinking Swedish. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Don't worry, I was thinking, how do you spell it as well? I had to ask man on the way here. But basically, it's because it's a movie about child protection police. And that is spelled the way that a child might misspell police.
Ah.
So basically, if you think of like NCIS or something like that, it's kind of like that, but much cooler. French, and in a very documentary kind of way of filming.
And it's more modern as well, right? This one.
It is more modern, but if you look at it, it doesn't feel like it looks super modern to me. It looks like a kind of just very off the street. If we walked into a police station right now, that's what it might be like. Very real. And it's a story of this child protection unit of the Paris police department, and how, you know, just the horrific things that they deal with, the things that they see, the kinds of people that they have to see on a daily basis.
Has it got a lot of Paris in it, this movie?
It does have a lot of Paris in it, but also you're in a lot of rooms. But it's more when they're out doing raids or whatever. But it's a really touching movie. It's kind of what you would call in English an emotional roller coaster, or what you'd call in French was an emotional lift, or French lift.
Ascenseur émotionnel.
L'ascenseur émotionnel.
And it
Sounds much better when I say it with my French accent.
so an emotional like lift, as in going up the floors, right?
Yeah, but
Wow,
if you were just
that loses a lot of the emotional roller coasterness.
No, but if you would just imagine that every now and then the lift would just drop like 2 floors suddenly. But you know, it's got a great ending. It's a movie which will really keep you glued to the screen the entire time, and it was one of the first French films that I watched.
Oh, cool.
So I'd highly recommend it to anyone looking to check out French movies.
Directed by Mai Wen, who did Monroy, which I really liked as well.
Yeah. But that's 2 minutes
Are
up.
you looking at IMDb underneath the table there, Manon?
No, I was checking actually the date of Ciao Pantin,
Oh,
and
right.
it was 1983.
What drink have you got there?
It's cucumber vodka lime.
Wow, fancy.
kind of stuff.
That's pretty nice.
Very
We're just sitting here with our pints.
Yeah, this is some lager. Really nice color.
Do you say cucumber or
Cucumber.
cucumber?
You can say cucumber.
Cucumber.
Concombre. You know, instead of emotional lift in France, you should say emotional flight of stairs, because the amount of apartments I've been to in Paris without lift, it's just all. We used to live on the 7th floor, and it was just stairs all the way.
And in the beginning, you think it's fine. Then as you're
Yeah.
getting to the top, it's like,
And
man,
when
that's
you get your
actually harder than
shopping,
I think it's
oh
going to be.
my. So, we're 22 minutes in to this conversation, and before I ask you number 5, I'm going to actually get us to get up and go for a little walk, even though we've got our drink. Look, I'm not going to lie to you guys, we're going to finish our drinks, and then we're going to go for a little walk, and we're going to walk down to a special place in this part of the neighborhood that's going to come up in your number 5, as I understand. But rather than give it away, I'm going to do the quick fire round that we do every week, pretty much every week, and I'm going to put you on the spot about Paris, as I always do. And then we'll continue the show from the bottom of the hill. Sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Let's enjoy our drinks and have a little bit of a cheers.
Cheers.
Santé.
Come on, let's do it. Right down the middle of the street. And we've got to watch out for the cars. So the quick fire round. First question. Where is the best place to watch a movie in Paris? Someone.
Okay, so in our opinion, and we're a little bit biased.
Quick fire round.
Best place, okay, Studio 28, Montmartre.
And that is where you guys are recording
That's
your
where
videos.
we do it, but if it's not Luxor Cinema, Barbès.
Okay, next question. What is the best movie ever set in France? That's for you, Manon.
La guerre est déclarée.
Which one's that? Oh, War is Declared?
Yeah.
I still don't know which one it is.
Sorry?
Car! Let's keep walking, we got it. Why do you like that film?
It's my favorite director, my favorite actress as well.
Yeah.
And it's based on a real story that actually happened to her.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say more about it. You just
No
have to
more,
watch it.
because it's the quick fire round. What's your favorite movie, Matt, set in Paris?
Favorite movie set in Paris, Monroy. I'm not going to give you an explanation. Watch it. Vincent Cassel, my favorite.
You like
actor,
Vincent
past
Cassel?
love of my life.
Okay, we got 2 more questions before we come to the secret place. One is favorite cafe in Paris, Manon. Oh, so many cars.
Chez Francis. Chez Francis, because you can get free French fries if you get a beer.
Where's that?
It's Rue Colincourt. It's in my street.
Okay, and Matt, we got time for one more question. Favorite park in Paris?
Favorite park in Paris will be Parc Monceau.
Parc Monceau.
Which is
We're crossing the road.
I'm not actually sure how I could describe where that is, but not far from here, and we're in Montmartre right now.
Okay, good answer. Guess where we are? Da, 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 da.
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. Oh, wait for the bus. Wait for the bus. And the Moulin Rouge. That, to give it away, is the number 5 film that you guys have picked. Who's going to tell me what's so good about it?
I think it's going to be Manon.
Okay, Manon.
So it's kind of cliche, but I still had to choose it. It's directed by Baz Luhrmann.
Baz Luhrmann, Australian.
Yeah.
Brings us all together.
So it proves that Australians can make good films in
Indeed.
France as well.
Because it needed proof.
Yeah.
And why is it so good? Is there a lot of Paris in it? I mean,
it's not just a blockbuster. For me, it's also like showing like an ode to artists, like writers, poets. It kind of reminds me of the way artists used to live in Montmartre. And also, I can understand why people think it's kind of fake or kitsch, as we say in French, because there's a lot of noise, a lot of lights in the film. But I think it's good sometimes to just have a lot of glitters and French cancan in a film. I think that's what cinema is about. It should be a show. And I just love this film just for this.
perfect answer, Manon. Thanks very much. You guys have been listening to the Eiffel Tower. This is Lost in Frenchlation with Matt and Manon. Subtitles on French movies. Go and check them out. Give them a like on Facebook. And I've heard whispers that we're going to do a little giveaway. What's the story? What are you giving away?
So we're going to give away 2 free tickets to one of our screenings. It's going to be of your choice, and the competition details are going to be revealed soon. Stick
Exactly
around
right.
for the Facebook post, and we'll let you know what you have to do to compete.
There you go. There's a reason to get straight on Facebook. 2 movie tickets coming up. You've been listening to the Eiffel Tower. Thanks very much for listening. Talk to you next week. Thanks for having us. Thanks for being with us, guys, as well, I should say.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Eiffel Tower with all of a G.